Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special report on animal neglect in New Zealand's biggest dairy farming group. This is a story which for many viewers will be shocking. It includes video we've received from a farm in the Crafar Farms group, owned by Allan Crafar and his family. They are New Zealand's largest individually owned dairy farming group. They have over 30,000 stock. They have production that's worth half of 1% of Fonterra's output, 22 farms, many of them very large factory farms. What you're about to see in a few minutes is a video that is shocking. It shows calves being allowed to starve to death because of poor management and basically neglect of the stock. This is a story that could have ramifications for all of New Zealand's dairy industry, for the bankers who gave this farming group the money, and potentially for New Zealand's reputation as a supposedly 100% pure place to come. What we're about to show you is the inside of a calf rearing shed on a farm near Benidale, just outside of Tokoroa, in between Hamilton and Taupo, I suppose you could call it. This is a former beef farm, 1,800 acres, 1,800 cows, and it's a huge operation. In fact, too huge for the Crafar Farms to deal with. Remember, this is a small family farming group. They started off with just one farm, and in the space of 10 years grew it to 22 farms. They took on $200 million worth of debt, and frankly, it's overwhelmed them. They haven't got the staff to manage it. They haven't got the trained people to be able to keep their animals safe. And what we're about to show you in this video proves that. Right now I'm just going to show this video and I'm going to talk over the top of it. What you'll see is some calves who are slowly dying. Some of them are already dead. They have effectively been allowed to die by the management on this farm, who have not arranged to make sure they've learnt how to feed, and they've been left there for days on end. I'm going to talk over the top of this video. You'll see in this video that some parts of it have been obscured to protect the identity of the person who gave us this video, who frankly, and we'll talk about this later, was a very brave person. Okay, we're going to show you the video. What you're seeing now is the inside of a calving shed on this dairy farm near Benidale. The person who took this video realised that the calves, in many cases, were very hungry and hadn't been fed for days on end. They'd been left inside this calving shed and were unable to eat properly. Many of them had not been shown how to feed. On a dairy farm, when a calf is born, it usually is fed up for a few days and then put on the bobby calf truck. It goes to a meatworks and is slaughtered humanely. But those calves need to be looked after in those few days before they're born and before they are sent to the works. In this case, the calves were not taught how to drink from a shed. And so they sat in that yard, slowly dehydrating to death. What you're seeing now is a group of calves. Some of them, and you can hear from what they're bellowing, some of them are desperately hungry. Some of them are near death. They have dehydrated so badly that they simply can't stand up. Many of them here you can see from the person who is looking at these calves are so near death that they can hardly bellow. You can see from the position of the skin on their ribs that they are horribly hungry. Many of them are only 3 or 4 days old. This calf, for example, you can see has never been able to drink. And when the skin is held up, it falls back slowly, showing that the calf is horribly dehydrated. As we go around, you can see more and more calves are in a very dehydrated state, and many are lying on the ground. It's at this stage that the person taking the video becomes very concerned about their health and is frankly shocked by what this person sees. As we go around, we see more calves which are lying on the ground, and shortly we're about to see some calves which are so hungry they're actually trying to get milk off another calf. Their basic instincts are kicking in, and they know that to get milk they have to push their head up against the udder of their mother. Of course, there is no mother there, and they're having to try and get some milk out of another calf. Now we see some calves which are really on the edge of being dead. They're lying in the corner. They've never been able to feed. As you can see here, this one is right on the edge of death. The person taking the video is checking to see whether it's alive or not, and you can see is quite shocked by what they see. This calf is actually still alive, although you can see it has effectively evacuated its bowels and is on the edge of death. As you can see here, completely devoid of life, but still alive. What you're going to see shortly is one particular calf, and it's calf tag. When a calf is taken to the works, it has to be identified by a calf tag, which shows what farm this calf is from. This video shows the tag of the farm in question and proves that this farm is the Crafar farm at Benidale. Wallace Cork is the name of the networks where these calves are taken. In many cases, the people picking up the calves are not allowed to take them when they're not in a fit state, and in that case many farmers will kill the calves, normally humanely, but unfortunately what happened in this case is that the workers were knocking them on the head with hammers and slitting their throats before piling them onto a pile of calves. And we'll show you some still pictures shortly. Well, there you have it. That's the shocking video from the Crafar farm at Benidale near Tokoroa. There are some real questions to answer from this video. For example, why didn't Fonterra do something about this farm? Everyone knew that the Crafar Farms operation was poorly managed, poorly run, had too much debt, was a dirty dairying operation, and at some stage would damage the reputation of Fonterra. And now it has. Why too didn't MAF, the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, decide to step in here? We understand that it had been to this particular farm many times after complaints of animal neglect. Now, after this case of the video was taken, a complaint was made to MAF and an inspector came to have a look at the situation. When they found the calves in the state they were, they ordered them to be slaughtered, and in fact the rest were shot. However, we understand that the MAF inspector tipped off the farm involved, and so the farmer went around to kill as many of the dead or dying calves to make sure that they were piled up and hid away. Yet still MAF had to kill many of them. MAF has been following this farm for some time. Why didn't it shut it down? MAF has told us and confirmed the incident in hand and said that it had spoken to the farmer involved, that it was a management issue, and at this stage was not planning a prosecution. We asked the question, why hasn't MAF prosecuted this farm many times? Why hasn't it been shut down? And finally, why did the banks, and they are Westpac and Rabobank, lend so much money to the Crafar Farms, over $200 million, to the point now where the Crafar Farms are essentially worth nothing to the owners of the farm, and the value of the land is worth less than the debt involved. And finally, this is a question for all of New Zealand. Why have we allowed the growth, the incredibly fast growth, of family farms into factory farms in New Zealand? So big, so hard to manage in many cases, so indebted, that animals are being neglected, and we are endangering New Zealand's image as a clean, green place to come and to buy its food from. Are we really 100% pure when we have factory farms like this where animals are neglected and we risk damaging our reputation in the eyes of the rest of the world? I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special report on animal neglect at Crafar Farms near Benidale in the North Island.